We hope you enjoy The Magicians, The Masquerade by Rachel Lawson. This is Sapphirus, the Emperor of the Universe, said the adopted brother of the Emperor, introducing him to a lady who was obsessed with the Emperor. Hi, who are you? Said the Emperor to the lady. Viscountess Gabriela de la Mar of Enceladus, said the lady, curtsying. Saturn's moon? Asked the Emperor. Yes, said the lady, who fell in love with him on sight. He was a handsome, tall, blue-eyed man with black hair, with a very charming nature. It would be a surprise if she didn't like him. He looked like half of his family. One of them was sitting with him, his great-grandson, Lakelandite, his guard who looked like his twin. He must have been a throwback, a doppelganger of the Emperor. The father of Lakelandite was even more of a twin of the Emperor. He could almost be the same man, it was said many times of the father, but for his beard, which the Emperor didn't have. The Emperor's grandson, Lakelandite's father, was married and notoriously in love with his pregnant wife, so the Viscountess who knew him in passing wasn't interested in him. She heard the Emperor was a widower, so she saw him as available. She was not the first or the last woman to be so deluded. The Emperor was, in fact, married and very much in love with his secret wife. They seldom got caught together, but one of the times was very dangerous for them both. They were at a summit and found themselves in an empty room far from the crowds. Little did they know they were observed either. The observer, the Viscountess, was walking alone, enjoying the quiet. She heard the Emperor's voice on her walk, so she walked to it. She stopped when she saw him in a room off the hallway. She didn't enter it when she discovered he wasn't alone. There was a woman with him. "Blake!" "My love," said the woman's voice. "My angel, I love you," the Emperor said, his voice full of passion. The Viscountess's heart was breaking as she peeked in the room, nervously to see what was happening. She saw the woman. She was pregnant and thought it must be his baby. They looked so in love, and she was both disgusted and jealous of the woman with the man she loved. They were kissing. She was driven mad by the sight. She recognized her. She was a married woman. She was betraying her husband with the Emperor, but she would have given anything to be in her place. She wanted to kill her to be with him. She thought it was a very insane thought to have. So she walked off quietly, leaving the lovers to themselves. A while later, the Viscountess saw her with her husband walking on the floor below from a balcony above and knocked into a poorly placed plant pot, gasping, thinking it could have fallen and hurt or killed someone. She thought another insane thought: she could get rid of her rival if it fell. She was overcome by a sudden impulse. She pushed it off the banister, panicked, and ran away. Below, the pot fell, killing someone. The intended victim's husband saw the pot falling and pushed his wife out of the way of the pot, and it crashed down on him, breaking his neck. Anna, the wife herself, panicked as she hit the ground, worried about the baby. She looked at her husband and said, "Blake, are you dead?" "Yes," said a grim reaper in the corner of the room, looking at her worried. "Angel, are you all right?" asked the reaper. "I think so," said Anna. "That would have killed me," said Anna nervously. "What happened?" "Neck broke," said the reaper. In the room walked Lakelandite. "You!" "What a mess," said Lakelandite, seeing the dead man. "Pull yourself together." "Oh, right," said the reaper. The reaper touched the dead man, and an odd thing happened. The reaper disappeared, and the man came back to life, and the neck was fixed. The dead man walking, who was medically trained, looked at his wife to see if the baby was all right. It was, it seemed. "What happened, Dad?" asked Lakelandite, looking up at where the pot fell from. I don't know. It started to rain plants. What do you think? Blake said sarcastically. I think someone doesn't like you, said Lakelandite. I think they were after your stepmum, not me, said Blake. I heard the swish of a long skirt on the floor and boot steps running. In the room walked the Emperor. Hello, Anna, my love. Hi, Blake, said the Emperor, looking strangely at Lakelandite, who was flying to the balcony with magic. What are you doing, boy, playing Superman? Asked the Emperor. Hi, Fred, said Blake awkwardly. This time, travel thing is getting to me again. It's feeling weird talking to you, my older self. You're feeling weird. I am my own granddad, said Fred the Emperor. Someone tried to murder Mum, said Lakelandite. There is a scratch on the banister where the pot was pushed off. Why would they want to hurt her? Asked the Emperor. Don't know, said Anna. We don't want to lose you again. You were reincarnated once. I doubt you'd come back again, said Fred. Blake and Lakelandite agreed they didn't want to lose her again. Anna was the wife of the time traveler, who was Blake and Fred, and was the reincarnated mother of Lakelandite. I think we need to hide her and put in a substitute so we can find this person who wanted to kill her. They are dangerous, Lakelandite said. Who? The Emperor asked. You, said his son Lakelandite. Me in a skirt? Said the Emperor awkwardly. You are death insurance, said Lakelandite. Okay, said Fred. I'll pose as him, said Lakelandite, pointing at Blake. Why? Asked Blake. I want to look the assassin in their eyes and ask them why they did it, said Lakelandite. Fair enough. What do I do? Should I guard Anna? Blake asked. No, Astra can, said Lakelandite. Astra was Lakelandite's dead twin sister's adult daughter, the queen of vampires. You play him, said Lakelandite. Why? Asked Fred. In case the assassin tries to kill the Emperor, said Lakelandite. They know I can't die, said Blake. And don't know about me being the same, true, said Fred. Fred looks nothing like me, and Blake has a beard, Anna said, pointing to the bearded Blake. Lakelandite was clean-shaven. Easy fix, just change our appearance spells, said Fred, who did, and was now wearing a dress like Anna's, and had long hair like hers. You still don't look like me. You look like a man in a wig and a dress, said Anna. Lakelandite found this very funny, his dad in a dress. You look like a real drag queen, King, said the laughing Lakelandite to Fred, who was also the king of the earth. Very funny, boy, Fred said. It needs a few tweaks. The Emperor waved his arm over himself, closing his eyes, and he was Anna's double. I forgot that spell. I've been like this for as long as I can remember, said Anna. They weren't human. They were powerful sorcerers who just took human form with powerful appearance spells. Anna herself was a magician too, but she was another sort. She was a fate who came to life when the time traveler's first wife, Lakelandite's mother, died. She was her reincarnated. Anna was his second wife. You look like me, said Anna, nervous to see her husband impersonating her so well. I do, don't I? Said Fred in his own sweet, light tenor voice, feeling very awkward. Don't speak. It will give you away, said Lakelandite, laughing, seeing his stepmum speaking with his father's voice. Shame there is no voice-changing spell, Blake said. I'll let you speak, Fred said to Lakelandite, who inherited his voice. I'll have to have laryngitis. Okay, said Lakelandite, still getting over his fit of the giggles. A beard like Blake's appeared on his face, hiding his high cheekbones. I remember beards used to have one, don't much like them. They are too much fuss to keep, said Lakelandite. Yes, agreed Fred. Lakelandite imagined him like that with a beard, and he laughed. What's so funny, boy? asked Blake, thinking it had to be an insult to him. Nothing, said Lakelandite, snickering. Blake glared at him. Anna left to visit her granddaughter Astra at her and her husband Max's house. The others left to go fishing for the assassin with the hoi polloi. Blake, as Fred, joined the diplomats. Lakelandite and the real emperor floated around their family, and Lakelandite chatted to them. They wondered why Fred wasn't talking. Lakelandite said they argued, she was stubborn and didn't want to talk. Lakelandite tried to get him to speak by insulting Fred a lot. He nearly spoke a few times. Eventually, Fred, fed up being insulted, wandered off to be alone. He was seen leaving by the Viscountess, and she followed him. Fred flopped in a seat in the dining room, pulled out his phone, and listened to Coldplay to wind down for a bit of me time. The Viscountess was still jealous. She picked up a knife from the long table, put it in her evening bag, and strolled over to the sitting area where Fred was sitting, distracted by his phone. He didn't seem to notice her. She walked up to him. She noticed his eyes were closed. It was too easy, she thought. She took out the knife and stabbed him in the heart. He opened his eyes and groaned and said in a pained, unmistakable voice, "Damn, not again!" He looked and saw her. "What have you done?" and dropped dead, holding the knife in his chest. She panicked. She realized she had killed the man she wanted to kill to be with. He had changed his appearance spell, she realized, as one of his people. She removed the knife from her dead love and drove it into her heart and died. "Lakelandite, come here. I need you," said a voice in Lakelandite's head. Lakelandite appeared out of thin air where he was called to. He saw a grim reaper looking at a dead woman lying on the body of the seated dead emperor who looked like his stepmom. "Can you help me?" asked the reaper, the emperor's soul. "Are you dead?" asked the son. "Do I look dead?" "You idiot!" the reaper moaned. "Yes, sorry," said Lakelandite, moving the woman off his dad's body. Then the reaper touched the body. Fred came back to life, and he healed his wound. The blood of him and the Viscountess covered the area and his torn clothes. Fred looked at himself in horror. "That cleaning bill will be murder," laughed Lakelandite. "Ha! Ha!" said Fred, unamused. "Now what?" asked Fred, looking at the dead woman. They heard voices coming their way. "Get out of here, Dad. You can't be caught like this. Go home, clean up," Lakelandite said. Fred disappeared into thin air, cleaning his father's blood away from everywhere, and left the same way as Fred. In the room walked Blake, as Fred with a group of alien delegates, seeing the dead woman and Fred's phone nearby. Blake picked up the phone, hiding it, and looked at the dead woman, wondering what happened.